Straight ahead on Monica's Close-Ups, Atlanta superstar Usher talks one-on-one with Monica. He answers those ongoing rumors about his personal life.
This has been a rough year for you.
A lot of turmoil.
Also ahead, Usher shares his feelings about becoming a father.
So are you ready for diapers? Do you know how to do this?
No, I don't. But I'll figure it out. You know, Huggies, they got this thing down to a science.
And the Grammy Award-winning Usher has sold more than 33 million records. He reveals to Monica details about his new album, his hot new fragrance, and the big hometown honor he received right here in Atlanta.
Look who's the newest member of the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. Usher, yeah!
It's all coming up right now on a very special Close-Ups with Monica and Usher.
Welcome to Close-Ups. I'm Monica Pearson. My guest tonight is the Grammy Award-winning Atlanta superstar, Usher. It's been a busy and controversial year for him. Tonight, Usher talks to me in depth about his marriage, fatherhood, and his phenomenal music career. Usher's singing career took off here in Atlanta when he was just a teenager. Since then, Usher has sold more than 33 million albums around the world. He has won nearly every music award, and he was just inducted into the Georgia Music Hall of Fame.
To everyone out there that has believed in my talent from the early days and been responsible for helping this success be what it is today, I thank you.
I've got to ask, when they called you and told you you were going to be inducted into the Georgia Hall of Fame, Music Hall of Fame, what was your reaction?
I teared up, to be honest with you, because of all of the obstacles that I've had to endure. And being an Atlanta native, I came from, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and just had a hope, a wish, a dream, and a team of people around me to help me to slowly but surely become the entertainer and the individual that I am today. So when I heard him say it, I was kind of in disbelief, like, and it's a little ahead of schedule, aren't we? No, but it's truly a milestone in my life. They asked me if there was anything that I could compare it to. They said, well, you have awards, Grammys, everything. I said, there's nothing that would compare.
When I interviewed you years ago, you were, fresh-faced, really getting into it.
Are you trying to say I'm old now?
No, my daughter's a year younger than you are, so no.
How's it go?
You think you would have hit? I first met Usher 7 years ago. I interviewed him at the recording studio he built in his country club of the South home. Even though he had not hit superstardom yet, he was keenly aware of the business of making music and looked beyond his own career. He had his own label and had signed several artists.
There's so much motivation around here, so much music, so much style. So I go out and I try to get it. And like I said, I try to open up those same opportunities for my artists.
You are diversifying in a way as a young man that I have not seen in the past with many of the young men of your time who are making the kind of money and becoming the kinds of stars that you are. There's The Grape, The Wine Shop. How many do we have now?
Well, we opened earlier this year in Emmons Park. As you know, I'm a part of the entire company. So there's going to be many other openings across the United States. It's a strategic plan that I've created in terms of that sort of business. Of course, I'm just as critical as I am in my music and want to make sure that I find territories that work, as well as associated myself with a brand that I felt like people would really enjoy. Wine is a luxury, and this type of edutainment that they get from the Grape experience, I felt like one would be educational and entertaining in a different way.
The fragrance.
The fragrance. Usher. Usher he, Usher she. The he is for the men, obviously, and she is for the women, obviously.
Once everything comes off, it stays on, so think about it. When you spray, think about me, all right? It's so cute! Oh my God!
The inspiration for the fragrance, one, it was just my wildest desire to do something that I felt like would allow me to have another connection with my audience or my fans or consumers. So many entertainers have gone in the direction of lifestyle branding, clothing, and other areas. I felt like fragrance was a very unique, sexy, as well as intimate way to start a conversation or engage into the introduction of lifestyle. When all clothes come off, it's the one thing that stays on, fragrance. So.
Ooh, I like that.
So I figured that would be a great direction. I spent every ounce of time, in patience and creating the fragrances that I've introduced. Really proud of them, really excited about them. I wear them personally every day. You can probably smell it in the room right now.
Well, I got to tease you about something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you go off and become part of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, why didn't you help out the Hawks?
Why didn't I help out? I go to Hawks games all the time.
Yeah, you go to Hawks games, but you're not part owner the way you are with the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron.
Well, you know what? It was an opportunity introduced to me, and it was one that I couldn't refuse. The Hawks actually didn't approach, and when there was a resale, if there ever was, I wasn't at the top of the list. So when there was an offer to become part owner with Dan Gilbert and David Katzman of Quicken Loans out of Detroit, we would reopen the arena, and I would partake in that, as well as being part owner and having some sort of association with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I said, I wouldn't pass that opportunity.
Even as an entertainer, Usher is exploring all his options. He's acted in several movies, and he's performed on Broadway, taking on the role of Billy Flint in the hit musical Chicago.
It's something that I really have a great respect for, a better understanding. I'd always admired it from a distance, but having stood in it and experienced, the schedule, as well as the reality of what that type of intimate relationship is with acting, it's greater than anything I'd ever had. It was really everything wrapped in one. So while it was exploration and it was growth on one end, it was very intriguing for me as an entertainer to push myself to that level.
Why is it important for you? Because I'm seeing you building. That music was your start, but music may not necessarily be what makes you long term.
Well, they do say I am one of the hardest working men in show business. These knees are good, but they don't last forever. And I don't think that I would be able to dance and sing for the rest of my life. So with all of the money that I have made, I've attempted to find great investments. More than that, to set an example for other people who are in a position when you accumulate, certain wealth. You have to figure out the right portfolio or either the right business model for yourself. That, for me, has always been wealth accumulation, wealth preservation, and then the transfer of wealth. So as I do all these things, I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about an example, for us as entertainers, that we cannot just rely on that stage and the money that we make now. You have to figure out a way to leverage yourself and go further,
Now that's Usher, the businessman. Still ahead on Close-Up, he reveals more. Usher discusses with me the very personal battles he's faced recently.
All of the things that everyone has been witnessing are my reality, but they are the evolution of an individual, the evolution of a boy to a man.
And you'll hear what he says about the new role for his mom, his new marriage, and becoming a new father.
Carrying this name is a heavy responsibility.
More of my conversation with Usher next on Close-Ups.
Monica's Close-Ups is brought to you by the new AT&T, your world delivered.
back to Close-Ups and more of my conversation with Atlanta singer Usher. Usher's personal life has received a lot of attention lately. He ended his business manager relationship with his mother. And in another surprising move, Usher got married, and the couple is celebrating the birth of their son. I talked with the newlyweds shortly before their son was born.
See you again. Congratulations and best wishes.
Yes.
I'm doing great. You know, I haven't seen her since the mall.
Yes, that's right.
That's the first time we met. It's so good to see you.
Oh, sorry.
You look beautiful.
Thank you very much.
You got that glow.
I'm tired.
Well, tired or not, Mrs. Usher Raymond, who used to be her husband's stylist, made sure he looked just right for our cameras before she left.
I'll be like, no. Yeah, he looks perfect. Okay, I'm going up.
I joked with you when I said you gained a wife, you lost a stylist. You didn't lose a stylist.
No. I gained a critiquer. Lost a stylist. She became worse.
I'm going to give you a piece of advice, which I'm sure every man has already told you.
Yes, dear.
Have you? And it's yes, dear. Whatever you say, dear.
Whatever you say, dear. Yes, dear. Whatever you say, dear.
Well, you know, I was noticing there's a new air about you.
It's a
A
good
new
thing.
confidence about you.
Well, you know what? Once you've endured certain obstacles or been in a position where you have to stand for whatever it may be as the man of your home, as the man of your life, as the man of your child, as the man of your music, as the man of your integrity, something does change. There's a shift in your personality. And all of the things that everyone has been witnessing are my reality, but they are the evolution of an individual, the evolution of a boy to a man, the evolution of, you know, an artist to a person who really, really wants to set a standard in music. A man of integrity is what I've always hoped to be. And because of these new obstacles and these new things that I've begin to embark on, or journeys that I begin to embark on, it calls for maturity. It calls for a calm spirit. It calls for, you know, the ability to learn to listen as opposed to just speaking and just acting real fast.
Reflective, serious, and definitely in charge. This is not the boyish, seemingly carefree Usher that his fans are used to seeing. And that's one reason why Usher followers were shocked to learn that in the last few months, he got married. He is also a new father. It's a boy. And Usher broke off his business manager relationship with his mother.
You know, the fact that we for so many years had a certain pressure on us because there was, you know, it was a lot for her to perform. And, you know, now being in a position where I can have a little bit more flexibility. She now has, you know, a life of her own with her husband. I don't mean to put your business out there like that, Mom. But, you know, having made so many sacrifices for me for so many years, now having that opportunity to just really enjoy her life and be a mom, be my mom and my son's or daughter's grandmother. That's really going to be great.
Usher's son, Usher Raymond V, arrived just over a week ago. The singer had this to say about his son having his name.
You know, carrying this name is a heavy responsibility for my son. I wouldn't want to put the added pressure. You know, of course, you know, my being a celebrity is obviously going to add a lot of pressure to him. I wouldn't want to put too much pressure, but I'd like for my name to carry. You know, it's a great thing. You know, I'm the fourth. My father gave it to me. His father gave it to him. So
are you ready for diapers? Do you know how to do this?
No, I don't. But I'll figure it out. You know, Huggies, they got this thing down to a science, so I figure I'll just take it from them.
How is this going to change your schedule for entertainment? Because you are, I can already tell, going to be a hands-on dad.
Well, I mean, every hotel room will be baby-proof. Every tour bus and every venue will be baby-proof because he will be there or she will be there. I do plan on being very hands-on. At the same time, I do, you know, I don't want to deprive, you know, my fans or the responsibilities that I've set for myself. And furthermore, just to set a great example, that, you know, the man has to get out there and he has to work.
Johnny, sit down.
Usher is working on a brand new album. We caught him in the studio with that other Atlanta hitmaker, Jermaine Dupri.
We're hoping for December. Right now, we've been working for the last year. If it's not right, you know, don't take it out the oven. You know, would you take that cake out if it wasn't ready? Yeah, okay, cool. So I have to get it right.
Is there any kind of pressure because Confessions was such a mega hit to try to do the same thing, or does that bother you?
Well, I think it bothers other people more than anything. It's a creative, you know, exploration for me. Every album is where I am and what I have to offer. And I'm a hard worker. You know, I haven't let them down before. I hope that I don't again.
So more love songs?
There's a lot of loving on this album. I got a few on there that are really defining moments in the maturity of manhood, I tell you. There's some real, you know what? While melodically this is going to be a great album and sonically it's going to be a great album, if you're able to physically go and purchase the album and read each lyric, you'll really understand the true meaning of what this album has meant to me and how powerful it is. And I think how powerful it will be for other men who may feel what I feel or what I felt through this album.
Did you write most of the songs?
I wrote a lot of the songs on this album.
You poured your heart into this one.
I have poured my heart, spirit, soul, body, mind, and almost everything into it.
This has been a rough year for you. I am really seeing this in you right now. And
A lot of turmoil. This has definitely been a transitional year for me. This has been the type of year that builds champions. So I'm hoping for the best.
Coming up next on Monica's Close-Ups, much more with Usher.
I pledged my participation and have been very aggressive in my approach. I've stayed on it. I've been on it for the last, year, 2 years.
Usher makes a passionate plea to help victims recovering from one of the nation's worst natural disasters. That's next on Monica's Close-Ups.
That was Usher in concert at Phillips Arena. The show was held to help raise money for victims of Hurricane Katrina and Rita. He is extremely passionate about rebuilding that region. And that's not the only issue Usher is very vocal about.
I support Barack Obama because of his ability to bring people together and to truly make a difference, no matter Democrats or Republican alike.
Usher fires up the crowd at an Atlanta rally for Democratic presidential candidate Barack Obama. The Illinois senator had this to say about the singer.
My dear friend Usher, who is doing unbelievable work each and every day and selling some records too. Thank you, Usher. I had to spend my birthday here in Atlanta because I was having to work that day. I was feeling lonely. I was away from my wife, away from my kids, had a little birthday cake. Usher came by just to say happy birthday. He didn't sing to me, but I was grateful to him. That's the kind of guy he is.
The rally also was an opportunity for Usher to turn a high-powered political connection into support for his own cause.
I support Barack Obama because he will address the needs of the families that are still suffering there in New Orleans today.
Helping those families has become a very personal mission for Usher. He is committed to putting 1,000 hurricane victims in new homes through his New Look Foundation. The program is called Project Restart.
How is that project developing?
In terms of progress made in the Gulf Coast, obviously there hasn't been much, but not to be discouraged, because there's someone out there who still cares. There's someone who is still trying to make a difference and attempting to tear through the red tape. A lot of times people, may feel, okay, well, they've forgotten about us. The cameras were there in the beginning. There was a big initiative, and then, of course, there was a giving fatigue that took place, I think, over the course of that year. Big news starts off one way, and then before you know it, it just vanishes. Okay, well, the problem is solved. There's some odd $1 billion that have been allocated for the relief, but where are those dollars going? So we teamed up with Hands On Network to go in and hopefully revitalize the Ninth Ward. There's mold remission that we've done, as well as through volunteers from all over the country coming in and picking up the shrapnel and cleaning the environment so that we can get some of these some sort of operations going again. I've pledged my participation and have been very aggressive in my approach. I've stayed on it. I've been on it for the last year, 2 years, and will continue. Every time every celebrity I meet, I say, what are you going to do? Is there something that I could do to get you to get involved and understand that your voice does count? And together, through our participation and endorsement of this project, I think that we can make a difference. And I've been seeing some great results.
Thank you, Usher.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You can learn more about Usher's New Look Foundation. The web address is ushersnewlook.org. Thank you for joining me for this special edition of Close-Ups with Atlanta superstar Usher. You can see more of my interview with him on our website, WSBTV.com. Thanks for watching, and have a good evening.